Creek was originally a small mine that developed into quite a large mine between 1898 and 1912. It closed mainly due to lack of transport options for the miners at the time and low commodity prices back in 1912. It mined at very high grade, between 2 and 6% copper from different lodes. Reports of up to 12% copper. It was then largely ignored for about 50 years. Mount Isa mines through Carpentero exploration went in and had little luck at it in the 1960s. Um, Drilled a couple of holes. One of it hit old workings, and so didn't really intersect any of the lodes because they lost the hole basically. And then the other hole was off to the south, with the conclusion that there's very strong potential in the deposit, but you need to go into the central part and off to the north a little further in the mine. That's quite consistent with what we're doing. We then saw a few majors who were active in the area. Newmont, who didn't see really any gold in the area, so they walked away. Western Mining saw the copper potential, but were distracted elsewhere further to the south. Came into the area, and then in the early 1990s, University of New England, Geological Survey of New South Wales, along with Rio Tinto, CRA, really confirmed this as a VMS type system, which we'll talk about momentarily. But again, it wasn't a CRA Rio Tinto sized deposit. So into the 2000s, we see 3 or 4 juniors that have all walked up to the project. All the geologists are concluding the same kind of thing. Excellent potential, genuine VMS system. But the company's got distracted corporately and elsewhere, and that just leaves it in this perfect opportunity for OD6 Metals to come in on the back of all this work, but to essentially have a blank canvas on a genuine high grade copper project. First of all, stepping out a bit, we have the New England origin, which is actually quite famous for mineral deposits, but they're normally related to the granites. So there's some gold, some lead, zinc, silver, some tin, some antimony. These are the kind of standard deposits produced in the New England origin area of northern New South Wales and southern Queensland. But over on the western side, we have some oceanic crust caught up along the Peel Fault, and that presents these VMS systems, volcanogenic massive sulfide systems. The comparable deposits for these kind of systems elsewhere around the world are Degussa in Western Australia, Beshi in Japan, Kidd Creek in Ontario. VMS, volcanogenic massive sulfide, is exactly what it says. It's characterized by massive sulfide. And I have a piece here. Here's a piece of massive sulfide from Gulf Creek. This is running high-grade copper. It's got copper, chalcopyrite, pyrite, sphalerite in it. But when we visited the site, one of the things that we noticed is that there's actually a strong magnetite load. So there's not just massive sulfide, there's massive magnetite sulfide. And this is a piece of the massive magnetite sulfide. This is from a rock sample that the other half went about 6.5% copper, about 2% zinc. And as you can see, as I can dangle it from our magnet, that's how much magnetite is sitting in this system. And that's really significant from an exploration perspective because we can utilize those techniques going forward. But when I first walked into the site as part of the due diligence, one of the first rocks I saw was the exhalative chert. And so there's 2 styles of mineralization, but also there's this chert body, which is like from a silica volcano on the sea floor. It's got the sulfide and the magnetite sulfide volcanoes. There's also these silica volcanoes. They're a very strong telltale for VMS systems, and you see them elsewhere around the world. But the chert and the surrounding sediments are also carrying copper too. So whilst the old timers mined the high grade in the massive lodes, the zones between appear to be carrying mineralization as well, based on the sampling that we did and as we've reported. So as we get on and start to drill this, we're hoping to see the potential for much wider its mineralization. The high grade massive sulfides, massive magnetite sulfides sitting within the broad country rock as well, which is also mineralized. I think to understand Gulf Creek and the opportunity that goes into the future, we need to understand the past, and through the lens of the historian, to see this as one of the finest high-grade copper lodes in New South Wales, if not Australia, back at the turn of the 20th century. Then to see all these hiatuses that run through the 20th century into the early 21st century, where people have walked up to the project and for one reason or another have got distracted by something else, but all seem to be reporting the same kind of thing, the quality of the opportunity that's presenting here. As we look towards the future, with our acquisition of this project, we see copper as a future-facing metal. Global copper demand is expected to continue to increase into the future. Indeed, it's the most important metal in energy transitions. We need to relay electricity networks. We need them for winding electric motors going forward. We see the great copper bulls, well, BHP and Rio Tinto all got strong focuses on copper exploration and discovery. Robert Friedland, of course, is a massive copper bull. But even the US Geological Survey, who say that all the global demand for copper for the next 20 years to 25 years is greater than all the copper ever mined, and that's going back to the Bronze Age. So we see this as a metal that is not going away. There's very little substitutes for it, and picking up this project at this stage of the cycle, at the value that OD6 presents, will allow us to get going, make some discoveries, and hopefully grow with the great future of copper.